Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the YouTube channel of Old Bloke Crypto. On March 13th, 2024, we are most of the way through the Asian session now. And as I say in this screen grab introduction to the video, Ethereum Dencun upgrade is on the horizon. And I'll go to that relevant website where I grabbed that countdown timer from in just a moment. But in the meantime, just a quick recap from last week. It's been a few days since I've done a video. And you might recall from that video that I was enjoying all of the short liquidations that were continually going on. And as I said in that introduction, to quote Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, "Do you guys give up or are you thirsty for more?" Well, apparently they were thirsty for more. Because between that time and the recording of this video, several days ago, I closed out a trade, very nice trade. That's the biggest percentage gain trade that I have done for quite some time. 371%, thank you very much. And price has since come back since that time, and I'll discuss where our trade parameters are today. But that was a nice one, and the shorts, not only were they thirsty for more, but they still are. Now, before I get right into the details of where we're trading at the moment and parameters, and as I said, shorts are thirsty for more. Yes, they are. But as someone who's longing only at the moment, you still have to be very careful because high leverage trades that I take, and as I've said before, I only take maximum leverage. In this case, it's 100x on Bybit because I know what I'm doing and have the capital to back it, et cetera, experience, and so on and so forth. But over leveraged longs, doesn't matter how much experience and practice you've got, can get stopped out just as easily as the shorts if you are unwise. So it's something to always keep in mind. And as we go back here, from not so long ago, that was on the 6th, if you remember, that big move to the downside and took out a lot of people down to 31.60 odd it was, and took out a lot of people that did not have enough margin to back themselves. Then, of course, the price has come back up since then as expected. So it's always important to keep that in mind. Don't get too cocky, although, as I've said many times, the shorts are the ones who are copping it and getting wrecked for the main. Now, at the moment, we're in a range, a small range, and I wouldn't necessarily go out and say, okay, Ethereum's trading in a range over any high time frame. This is just low time frames, just a current range that we're in for this low time frame, which is only basically this particular range is in the last 24, 36 hours. But you can see there's plenty of liquidity built up to the downside, down at 37.20, capping out, and the upside 4,100. Now, this is just one indicator, one that I use. It's one of my favorites to give me an idea of what's happening in the markets. This is the 1 hour time frame. So I don't hang my hat on it, but it does give me some good early indications. And so in the meantime, we're just trading in a short range, waiting for the Dencun upgrade. So let's see when that is going to happen and the implications thereof. Well, this is the live countdown timer on Block Native. And as I see at the time of publication, it's 9 hours to go. So not that far. So as it gets closer to the time when the upgrade goes live, there's going to be volatility is going to come into the price of Ethereum. Now, how much, nobody knows, but you need to be prepared for it. So again, if you're longing, plenty of margin as always, and plenty of dry powder on the sideline to take advantage in case we get a dip to the downside. And they referred to what's live on ethernow.xyz. That's always a good resource anyway. And I'm going there here now, and you'll see there's lots of stats, and you can scroll through it for yourself whenever you're ready and have a look at those stats of what's happening on Ethereum, as it says, what's happening on Ethereum right now, to give you a good idea of the various metrics in and around this blockchain. Right, so let's get back to the charts here, and you'll see that we've had a couple of nice dips in the last few days down to, this is on the 4 hour chart, the 50 EMA, and we had that was the big one I was referring to the other day when we came right down, bottomed out at 31.86, basically the bottom of the current range in inverted commas, or the top of a previous range. So not expecting to get there with this Dencun upgrade. Similarly, not at all, but we could get another dip down to the 50 EMA, which is currently sitting at 38.60. Perhaps we could, but if we do, I don't expect it to go much further. Anyway, we had that dip. That was to clean out the late longs. That happened in the last 24 hours. And since then, price has recovered and continuing on to the upside. And once again, largely respecting the dark blue line, which is the 21 EMA. And it's currently sitting at 39.81. And all these indicators, all the 4 EMAs I watch are trending to the upside, which is great. All right. So where are our stops that we're going to place? Well, I'll show you where I've got mine. Now, as I always say, this is not financial advice. My videos never are, just for information and tells you what I'm doing with my trading, which brings me to the next point. You do you. As I always say, you trade within your means. You make your decision of leverage that you're going to use. You might use spot. It's up to you. As I said, I always trade maximum leverage because I can and I know what I'm doing. If you're just starting out, stick to 2 times leverage, for example, and you just get practicing, get some practice. Just like anything else, practice makes perfect. Although there's no perfect in crypto, of course, but it makes you a lot better. Anyway, let's have a look at the 3-day chart. Now, you'll see here, this was the big recent dip, big in inverted commas, not as big as this fella over here, but still significant nonetheless. And it took out, you see these late longers in here. There was a big patch down here. It took them out, and there's some more just recently. And so then after it's taken them out, these unwise ones, which I'm sure you're not because you're taking heed to what I'm warning you about, it's come back up to the upside. And what's the market maker looking for? Well, let's have a look on the 3-day as we are. And here we go. This is on Binance alone. 308 million sitting there at 41.02. We're currently at about 40.50. Okay, so look at this thick band of liquidity. Hundreds and hundreds of millions just on Binance alone, right up to about the 41.50. I know these bars here are fading off, but you look at the actual, it's all comparative, of course. And in comparison to these big ones here, it's 308 million. It's fading off in comparison to them. But when you actually look at the numbers, here we go, we're up to 41.51. It's still 90 million. So I have relatively conservatively set my stop at 41.50 for this particular trade. And I got into it and I put a placeholder along after I closed out that other position. And I've actually, my entry point for this trade is lower than the previous entry point, entry point for the previous trade, which I always like to do. So I'm essentially double dipping a little bit. So I'm always overlapping my entry points if I can, so that I'm maximizing my return. And so in this case here, 41.50 is my take profit stop. Now you'll see here 41.51 and look at that 41.55, etc., etc. As I'm going to watch this over the next 12 hours, if this continues to thicken to the upside, I will move my stops. If you're new to the trading game, I would suggest that you leave it where it is when you set it. And if you set it to 41.50, good on you. But there is a range here. So if you want to lock in those profits, and I always like to lock in my profits on a regular basis, as you see on my Twitter page when I share these trades, as well as on YouTube, it's always a good idea because until you realize them, they don't exist. All right, so that's on the 3-day. And now looking at the 12-hour, and this is a real emphasis of the warning if you are over-leveraged long. Just like the silly over-leveraged shorters at the moment. Have a look at this. This is just 12 hours. Have a look at this. This is the most recent dip that we had. And then have a look at this. All of this long liquidity has come in the last 12 hours. A lot of it there, right down to that 39.18 mark. So although it's nowhere near the hundreds of millions to the upside, it can be a potential target if there is a dip, a volatility coming in around the Dencun upgrade. You need to be aware of this. So for me, I would not have a stop anywhere near this because this is attractive to the market maker to some degree. Having said that, and zooming out to the 1 week chart here, you can see that even more liquidity, hundreds, nearly $500 million just on Binance alone is set there to the upside, again, attracting the market maker. So yes, more likely to go to the upside, but just beware, as I said, around Dencun. And as you see there, look at that huge amount of liquidity to the upside. But looking at this expanded chart from the 4 hours, if you think it can't happen, that we can't have another dip, just remember so much of the crypto market is manipulated. And this here is this light blue line is the 50 EMA. And this latest wick came down almost exactly to the dollar to that point. Now, it's not coincidence. A lot of people set their stops at the 50 EMA. Market maker knows this, comes down there, goes right to it or just below it, as you'll see with the previous one, says thank you very much, and price reverses to the upside, because a lot of people then come in and set their shorts. And off he goes again, round and round, taking liquidity from the unwise retail traders. So to summarize, as I said, 41.50 is my current take profit stop. If price comes down here, I was able to add this morning some more to this long when we got down to the 21 EMA. I missed out on this big one here at 2 o'clock in the morning in Australia. I was asleep. But this other one, when it came down, back down again to the 21 EMA, I was able to grab some more and add to my position. So very happy with that at the moment. I personally do not have a stop to the downside because I can trade it down to zero with this amount. So it's simple as that if I want to. But if you choose to place a stop, that's up to you. And it's wise if you are a new trader or prefer to have stops, you do your own trading style. I would be placing a stop just below the 3,000. I won't go into the details of, there's a lot of liquidity just above 3,000. And if it gets down there, I fully expect a sharp reversal, but I don't expect it to get that far. I expect that if we do get with this volatility with Dencun, could very well get down to the 50 EMA again, currently sitting at 38.60, but not far beyond that. I'm not expecting that at all. After that, continuation to the upside. Very exciting. I shall be back in the future, hopefully tomorrow, for another update. This is Old Bloke Crypto. Stay safe with your tradings, trade within your means, and I will talk to you soon.